Hello and welcome back to episode 6 of the Bad Teacher Podcast. Happy to have you. So today we have what's in the news. So we'll start off with a local story from my hometown in Waterloo, Iowa. We'll talk a lot about places in the Midwest, of course, because I feel like there's a lot of representation in podcasts, on the East and West Coast. So we're going to do Heartland stuff. And again, not only we'll also do international and other stuff in the United States, but you are going to hear a definite partiality coming out in my podcast of the Heartland. So Waterloo Police Department has been sued for allegedly covering up a crime committed by Keaton Northrup in a motor vehicular crash that happened. It's a motorcycle vehicular crash that happened on June 1st, 2024, where a couple, boyfriend and girlfriend, the boyfriend, Keaton Northrup, was a Waterloo police officer, and his girlfriend, Jenna Mills, was a neighbor that grew up around the corner from me my whole life, a little bit younger than me. Nonetheless, somebody that is from our community. And, it's a smaller community, so not surprising that we all know each other. But she was riding on the back of the motorcycle with him. He was going over 100 miles an hour. He had a blood alcohol content of 0.300, more than 3 times the legal limit. He crashed the motorcycle, and she was later run over by a semi and drugged down the highway to her death. So the lawsuit alleges that the cover-ups include things like turning on and off the body cams. They never checked the officer's blood alcohol content. That number was from the hospital. They said, they asked a nurse, why didn't you say anything? Well, he's a Waterloo police officer. In the police reports, they didn't mention, there was 4 different officers involved. One mentioned some other things that others don't, but by and large, they don't mention that he was intoxicated at the time of the accident. And so we will see how that goes. And I will keep you guys updated. Furthermore, this is not the first time that Black Hawk County residents have been unsatisfied or, honestly, just tired, disgusted, searching for a way of justice for the community members. And I plan to have the sister of Jenna on for a future episode where we will talk about different lawsuits that have been filed against the Waterloo Police Department. But for now, I wanted to shift gears a little bit and talk about another lawsuit that was filed again in May, a little bit before the accident happened in 2024, that alleges that the fees that prisoners were being forced to pay, whether they knew it or not. I mean, they were signing a piece of paper that said that they had to pay them. But the ACLU, Public Justice, and Letitia Roberts says that they want to take a stand against this practice of charging inmates, again, random fees that have been used allegedly now for things like cotton candy machines, ice cream machines, laser tag, and to improve local shooting ranges. And which the exact numbers are $70 per day plus $25 in admin fees. And so the inmate that has initiated this lawsuit, a single mom of 3 children, has said that it was over $700 that she's still having to pay off years later, when this money could go towards her family, and including the lost income from her being jailed for driving while being intoxicated. He says, who is he? Sheriff Thompson of the Waterloo of Black Hawk County Sheriff's Department. Tony Thompson says that the taxpayers should not have to pay for the development of the police officers, nor the mental health services that are provided by these fines. Obviously, the contradiction here, using a Marxist analysis, is that these prisoners are also taxpayers, and it should nor fall in the hands of the most vulnerable in a community, which are the people who are criminalized and put into jail. not only are they losing out on income and have to pay for being in this prison, but now they're given an additional fine that are covering things that the constituents of Blackhawk County would probably not approve if there was some sort of vote. So I will, again, this was a few years ago, and there has been, from what I can see, no outcome for this yet, but I will keep us updated. And again, this is a longer thread or through point of the institution of policing in the United States and how we can be more honest with our students in teaching what is the purpose or how to transform or rethink or even be critical of the institution of policing in the United States, especially since it is an institution that came out of chattel slavery to keep the enslaved people on their plantations. And it's always been right in conjunction, working in collaboration with your vigilantes, right? You're like well-to-do folks who made sure that the enslaved people weren't running away. And so they use that network of the law, officials, and civilians to perpetuate the surveillance and extra vigilance of, in this case, enslaved people. And then we have all the way up, even stealing money from them through legal means to fund what the sheriff, Tony Thompson, calls professional development and mental health of the police officers. And we'll keep pushing. Also in Muscatine, Iowa, which I want to share my screen for this because I want to show you, it's a smaller town, about 22,000 people is all. And let me show you where it's at in Iowa. I got a lot of tabs, so just bear with me real quick. Here we go. So here's in Iowa. I'm right here in Iowa City. I'm from Waterloo, right here. Good old state of Iowa. And Muscatine is a little bit to the southeast of me. So in this small town, there's a man by the name of Ryan McFarland. On June 1st, 2026, so just 5 days ago, he allegedly took his family's life besides one child, so 4 children and his wife, and then later killing himself when the police were after him. It was 3 kids and 2 extended family members. So one child is still left, and then I will clip in his speech and a little bit more on this case. And so I will, again, we'll follow this. And really, this is not only to highlight problems with lax gun laws in Iowa. They have become increasingly lax. And then we have stories like people who kill their family members. There was another one just recently, a few months ago in Marion, Iowa. So I'm trying to, again, thread that needle, building up my case for when we do have an episode on gun violence, more civilian to civilian rather than state sanctioned violence, which would be like police officers to civilians, which is a little bit different. So we'll separate those. But I wanted to share that story. Scary stuff here, a lot of violence and a lot of misuse of our funds, whether that's our hard worked money that we've earned or whether that is through our tax dollars that are taken, which again, I'm not against them taking the tax dollars. I'm against them allocating our funds to benefit those people who are already beneficiaries of the American project. All right, now we're going to shift to Latin America really quick. Some exciting stuff happening there. And I want to use these stories as a model for us of how to take power. And so I will start with, there's a general strike in Mexico right now. I will clip in an example or like on the ground live version of that. There is some violence taking place. And there are also some clips that you may see if you investigate this further of people like taking bats to glass, etc. I personally am not going to highlight those because it reminds me a little bit too much of like what Israel has done in Iran, where they implant people that will produce riots or start to wreak havoc and then blame the protesters who were very organized, working through local organizations there. kind of conflate those two stories. And so I'm not saying that that's what's happening. I'm saying that that's why I'm choosing not to elevate that story. And I'm going to show more of what it looks like from just your day-to-day peaceful marches and speeches. And again, it's really Mexican teachers saying, in collaboration with organizations and teacher unions, saying that we will not allow the FIFA World Cup to happen here in a matter of days if you don't give us these very specific asks, which has to do with teacher pay, etc. And I will put more information as usual in the references for you to use to not only inform yourself, but also to use as activities or mentor texts in your class. Furthermore, in Chile, there is a student strike for some of the same reasons. The ultra-right president, Kast, that was elected just this year, and he started being the official president in March of 2026. He has been doing some austerity tactics that conservatives not only conservatives, actually, like we said, kind of Barack Obama did it as well. In our last episode, we talked about that. But where you're cutting a lot of government fundings that go to these social services. So the students are in the streets now demanding that these cuts be put back into the budget of the government, and we will continue to follow that story as well. But I wanted to elevate those stories for you guys to, again, use as an example, provide us with models of ways that we as teachers have power, and we can take that power and ask for really whatever we want. I mean, we have the organizations. I think I wanted to remind you of one that I had put you on recently. So we have Free the Future, and I will re-add this website for you guys in the description. And this is a little bit less for in the classroom purposes and a little bit more for us as teacher and activists. So I just wanted to provide you with these resources. And we have, they're like, if you go into these, there's some pretty cool stuff. I won't do that for this episode, but that I'll leave that up to you. But I just wanted to remind you of that. And then I wanted to remind you of the organization that is a branch. Well, actually, Free the Future is a branch of the Arrows, the Alliance to Reclaim Our Schools. And there's many ways that you can get involved with this organization as well. And I really like this because it provides concrete ways to be active, even if it's as simple as signing a petition or calling a congressman. They even have templates that we can use to be more concrete are the specific needs of our own communities, depending on the state, how it will affect us locally and at a state level or even at a district level, the $7 billion being proposed to be cut from the education department coming up here in July of this year. So it still can be changed. We can still fight for this funding. For me, my big fight is for Title III funding, even though the Department of English Education has been gutted, basically wiped out of the Department of Education. Again, the fight is not over, and you pick your battle and you go after it.